According to my observations, those who are known, recognized, and followed by thousands welcome this mass recognition with pleasure on one hand. Yet, on the other hand, their threshold of tolerance for the questions and actions directed at them by their admirers is remarkably low. Though they encounter far more absurd questions and behaviors within their own families, they find themselves unable to endure the reasonable or unreasonable actions of the people they voluntarily interact with online or in public. This is not surprising, for the human mind can only cultivate intimacy with a limited number of souls, and anyone beyond that boundary becomes a burden. And yet pure solitude remains far beyond the limits of human endurance. The common wisdom that man is a social creature seems reasonable within certain boundaries. However, for this belief to stand on solid ground, we must understand whether man is social by nature or out of sheer necessity. From the very beginning, necessity has been the driving force for humanity. This force compelled them to live in small, tightly knit groups. In this light, the idea that man's sociality is an inherent part of his nature appears deeply doubtful to me. Regarding this desire to be known, it is wiser to separate it from the urge to mate. Mating is a biological activity dictated by our physical nature. What truly captures our attention is the longing of one consciousness to be known by another. While this can be satisfied within a small group, what kind of fulfillment does it bring on a massive scale? Say, knowing that you are recognized by millions of other minds. Consider a king or an emperor. What fraction of the subjects living across his vast empire has ever gazed upon his face? Aside from a core circle of court insiders, the number of people who have the chance to meet him face to face and form a close connection is incredibly small. Yet everyone knows his name and perhaps fears him without ever having seen him. The idea that a king derives true satisfaction merely from knowing he is recognized by an entire populace who has never seen his face seems highly questionable to me. Because for any single soul, pure, hollow recognition is never enough. Whether on a mass scale or within a tiny circle, man will expect respect, admiration, and even fear. For every individual, being known by many is merely instrumental. But sooner or later, a moment will come for everyone when this instrumental state is no longer enough. He will inevitably turn back to the core group of people with whom he can share true intimacy. In examining this desire to be known, I do not approach it as something inherently wrong or something to be condemned, but to understand it, a critical eye is necessary. For when we examine man's current condition, we see that all his emotions and habits from his earliest days are bound up in an effort to adapt their core essences to changing conditions. Most of these efforts seem to contradict human nature. While our desire to be known can be fulfilled within a small group, and while that is the maximum weight a soul can carry, the urge to go beyond this, to be known by vast human multitudes, seems to be a pathology of the modern day. Will it carry over into tomorrow? It is very difficult to tell, but perhaps as sources of income diversify and change, and perhaps when future generations no longer carry the anxiety of livelihood, they will cast this unnecessary burden off their backs. It is worth understanding this. The adaptation processes of the human race were always agonizingly painful, and they will continue to be so. For any living creature, changing environments and conditions are challenging, yet they pale in comparison to the radical transformations of the human race. This being the case, when man's environment and conditions change radically, even for the better, And when we consider the massive human population trying to adjust physically and mentally over long years, we enter a treacherous path. To return to our main theme, man will always feel lonely in this universe. In truth, the problem is not his loneliness, but the absolute indifference of the entire cosmos toward him. He will respond to this indifference with the thing he does best, by deceiving himself, convincing his own mind that he is everything he wishes to be. And each time, the price of these grand illusions will be paid by the generations to come.